WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has been freed from British prison. He has struck a plea deal with the American government in exchange for his freedom. Assange is set to plead guilty to violating US espionage law. According to the court filings, Assange would be sentenced to 5 years and 2 months in prison. However, he would be entitled to walk free as he has already spent roughly the same time in British custody, fighting his extradition to the US. With that, Julian Assange's legal battle seems to have finally come to an end. But how did it all begin? What did Assange do? What charges did he face? We'll get to that in a bit. First, let us tell you more about Julian Assange. Native to Australia, Assange is an editor and activist by profession. But he's a man of many talents. He became computer savvy at a very young age. By the time Assange reached his 20s, he was already considered one of Australia's most accomplished hackers. Later on, he went to Melbourne University to study mathematics and physics. In 2006, Assange founded WikiLeaks, an organization that published leaked materials submitted by anonymous sources. But it wasn't until 2010 the website rose to global prominence. This was after it published a treasure trove of data leaked by Army intelligence analyst, Private Chelsea Manning. The data included videos of deadly US military airstrikes and logos of US military activity in Afghanistan and Iraq. Soon after this, trouble began to mount on Assange. The same year the US data was published, 2 Swedish women leveled accusations of sex crimes against Assange. A Swedish court ordered Assange's detention. Days later, British police arrested Julian Assange. He denied the allegations and claimed the Swedish case was a track to extradite him to the US for the WikiLeaks publication. But so far, there were no charges against him from the US. It was Sweden that ordered his extradition for questioning. Assange kept on appealing against it, only to receive rejection from British courts. 2 years later, in 2012, he sought asylum in London's Ecuadorian embassy. His plea was heard, but at what cost? The British police mounted round-the-clock guard to prevent his escape. Assange was left holed up in cramped quarters in the embassy. Then came another round of WikiLeaks publication in 2016. This time, emails from Democratic National Committee and personal Gmail account of John Podesta were released. John Podesta was the chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign at the time. The stolen emails indicated that the committee had acted favorably towards Clinton during her primaries. As time passed, Swedish prosecutors dropped their investigation against Assange in 2017. But British police said he would still be arrested if he left the embassy over his failure to surrender to bail earlier. And that wasn't all. As soon as the Swedish charges were dropped, a federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, issued a criminal complaint against Assange in 2017. 2 years later, the US criminally charged Assange with violating Espionage Act and sought to extradite him from the UK. That's when he was arrested and his asylum in the Ecuadorian mission was retracted. Since then, he had been at the high-security Belmarsh prison in London, fighting his extradition to the US until striking the plea deal. If convicted on all charges, Assange faced a maximum possible sentence of 175 years in prison. This fight made Assange a hero to free speech campaigners around the world, and a villain to those who think he endangered US national security and intelligence sources. Assange's plea in British courts against extradition to the US was rejected. In February, he was granted the permission to submit a fresh appeal. Now, Assange has finally struck a plea deal with the US, with an end to his long legal battle in sight. According to WikiLeaks, Assange's freedom is the result of a global campaign by press freedom advocates, legislators, and leaders from various political backgrounds.